What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Jaleesa the Realist. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going live on YouTube, okay? Today, I decided to share a little story. And instead of, holding off on doing it or trying to come up with some excuse as to why I can't edit the video, I decided to just come and share it live, okay? This means this is uncut, unedited, real story for you. Okay, let me get a drink of water. Oh, I'm getting thirsty. Hmm. Now, this story is coming from a place where, I'm sharing something deep here. Like, this really actually happened to me. And I don't know if any emotions are going to come up. Probably not, but let's just let's just go ahead and get into it. I've been meaning to share this story for a long time. In this story, I'm not going to use any names, of course, because I don't need anyone trying to come for me. But this story is what it is, and I hope that you receive something from this story. Okay, so I would say in about around 2016. Okay, around 2016, I was dating a guy. Okay. Okay, let me back it up. Let me back it up. Around that time, I had a really close friend. Okay. And she was planning to go to Jamaica. And I was like, girl, you don't got to go by yourself. I can go with you. So I ended up going to Jamaica with her. And I met a guy. And, you know, obviously I was attracted to this guy. We started talking. And he, right off the bat, did something that was very cringy to me. And I knew, okay, at that moment, I knew that he was trying to use his words to trick me. Okay. He was randomly like in the first 2 or 3 days of like us meeting each other, he was like, he tried to say, like, oh, I'm falling in love with you. Okay. I know everybody's different, every story is different, like every experience is different because if you listen to my other stories, or I guess you'll hear other stories, who knows after this. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, but I really felt like this cringy feeling that I knew he was trying to trap me by those words because, men, guys sometimes, or a lot of times, use women's emotions to, trap them in certain or different situations. Like, they try to manipulate our feelings that they know are easy to, tap on to get us to do things that might be out of our character or could be really in our character, but, just happening too soon. Okay, basically. And so, you know, um, I really fell for this guy, but honestly, I knew consciously, I really consciously knew that, our relationship wasn't going to be it for me. Like, I really knew that, there was a true purpose for this relationship. And, they say people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. This guy was definitely placed into my life for a season because, at the end of the relationship, we actually ended up dating for like maybe 2.5-ish years. Um, like, there was so much for me to take from that relationship. And so maybe I'll share that in another story. Comment below and let me know if you want to hear all of the things that I learned from that crazy ass relationship. But in this story, it was crazy because I knew that there was a purpose for our relationship, and also I loved the guy. Like, I couldn't deny that. And I always saw it as like, no matter what, this guy is going to, be my friend at the end of the day. And so we continued the relationship. I knew all the messed up shit that he was doing. I mean, obviously I didn't know all of it, but I knew that he was a gallus and what that meant. And I kind of just went along for it, and I went along for the experience. Shoot, I was going to Jamaica every 4 to 6 months. Okay. So, at that age, what age was I? Let's say like 22, 22. Going to Jamaica so often, like that was a treat for me. Like, I really got the chance to experience Jamaica and, really even get to know myself deeper, being so deeply connected to Jamaica at that time in that season in my life, you know? And so, with all the crazy shit that was happening, there were just some things that I did not know. And I happened to find out two really crazy things at the same time. Okay. So it had turned out that at that time, let's just call it like November. Okay. And at this point in our relationship, like, things were winding down. Like, I was kind of finding my way out of the relationship. He was, but at the same time, like, he was still trying to move, like, he was committed to me and, like, I was the one and all these type of something, Jamaican men. Okay. Jamaican men. Some of y'all don't come for me. Okay. The ones, you know who you are. Okay. So, basically, at that time, I had found out by another woman that I knew was like, a part of the roster, I guess. I don't even know what to call it, but she had reached out to me and she was like, I was pregnant for him and I just had a miscarriage. And that was crazy to me because, like, what? You know, what? Like I knew some things, but I didn't know all the things. So she apparently had a miscarriage and, like was currently in that moment going through her miscarriage. Meanwhile, he was denying that the girl was even pregnant. Like he completely denied it all and it made it seem like me and the girl were crazy. And then, so that was one thing. Then the girl tried to be like, oh, and something, something like, "Oh, how's your son?" and said his name. Like, I hope he's okay. And I was like, but wait, what do you mean, how's my son? Like, what are you really asking right now? So that was messed up on its own. And even that in itself really like pulled me away from like posting on social media. At that time, like my social media was starting to build up and I had pretty good engagement and then like I stopped posting. Like I stopped, being public with myself and the things that I was doing because this crazy ass girl, like, what do you mean, how's your son? How is he doing? And calling out his name. Like, I will kill you. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Anyway, so that had happened. And then I had also found out that another baby by somebody else had just been born. And he really wanted to tell me, but couldn't find himself to tell me. And he was finally telling me because apparently the mother of the baby left the baby with him. Like the newborn baby, the baby was like 2 months. The mother left the baby with him. So he figured that, I would hear the baby crying in the background. And so that was the reason why he told me, because he knew that I was gonna hear the baby crying. That was the reason, not because, you know, the long list of other reasons why, it might be good for me to know something like that. Anyways, so my body like went through shock because of that experience. My body went through a shock. And I feel like I guess I really didn't like really take in like that was the reason until after the fact, but I remember like not feeling well and my parents were away and I just really wasn't feeling well. So I dropped off my son at my sister's house and like I just went back home and I just was not feeling well. Like I felt like, things were moving. I was feeling dizzy. I felt like I was kind of blacking out and coming back and blacking out and coming back. And so I had called 911 and I sat down and they stayed on the phone with me. I was explaining everything that was happening. And as I was on the phone with them, I was still like blacking out and coming back. Like it was really scary. And so um, while that was happening, I'm gonna be real transparent with you and say that like I felt like I had to bun a spliff to calm my nerves. Okay. And so when the paramedics came, I let them know that that's what I did to rectify the situation. And actually, she was like, "Oh, are you on any medication? Right, yada yada." I was like, "Well, my doctor prescribed me with depression pills, but I don't take them. Instead, basically, I bun a spliff. I don't take these pills that the doctor gave me." And so she was really like, "Oh, well, if your doctor gave you those, don't you think that that would be a good idea to take them instead of, resulting to drugs?" And did it like she was really kind of ridiculing me and making me like making it out to be like I was an idiot for what I did or like I should have done better. And she was kind of making it seem like, oh, like, yeah, this girl is just tripping out. That's why she's calling the ambulance. So we get into the ambulance now, and she just sits like she has me sitting up like in a chair. And she's just asking me questions and we're taking the long way out of the neighborhood. I guess for them to see like, okay, do we need to drop this girl back at her home? Like so we are exiting the neighborhood now and she's asking me a question and I'm like fainting in front of her. So she's like, all right, come here. Come here, we're gonna lay you down. So she lays me down. She starts like opening my shirt, strapping all this stuff on me. And she was like, Patricia, I think you want to come back here. She was talking to the driver. Like, hey, I think you want to come back here. So the driver had to park at the convenience store, okay, and come back to the back of the ambulance. And she's like, yeah, I'm not seeing her P lines. I don't know what that means, but she wasn't seeing my P lines apparently. And they started like trying to do things and like it was really freaky because obviously I don't know what's going on. Like they're freaking out. If one paramedic was freaking out to have to call the next one, I'm like, okay, like now I'm starting to panic more. In my mind, I'm seeing like my life flash before my eyes, like, how's like my son gonna feel? Like, what if I actually do die? Like, I'm laying in this bed, this ambulance bed, and like dead people lay here sometimes. It was really, really freaky for me to think about all of that and like it was a lot. And it turned out that by the time we got to the hospital, like they didn't have to actually do anything to me to make my heart re-regulate, which by the way, the reason that's even came to my mind is because, I'm here in Toronto looking through old files and stuff, and I came across this medical paper that actually shows what my heart rate was on that day. So this was in 2016, actually. And so this is like the heart rate scan that I ended up getting on that day. And I Googled, apparently the average heart rate for a woman is 60 to 100 beats per minute. Okay. And according to this paper, my heart rate was 147 beats per minute. Okay? 147 beats per minute. And I mean, of course, that's crazy. And I think that it really, like, it was crazy, basically. They didn't really have to do anything. They didn't give me no medication. My heart just relaxed on its own. The doctor was like, "Oh, like, so is there anything personal that's going on in your life?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm breaking up with my boyfriend." And he was like, "Let me do it for you," basically. And he was like he didn't have anything to say about the THC or anything. Like he was like, "Okay, well, maybe that helped to calm you down. Like, who knows?" But the other day now, like recently, like as in earlier this month, I actually went to Jamaica and I stayed with my uncle Stanley and Auntie Nico, right? And Uncle Stanley was, just talking to us and basically was explaining to us or enlightening us about the fact that, when you love, it's important to recognize that your heart as an organ does not do the loving. Your heart does not love. Your heart, pumps blood, but it's your mind that does the loving. And so when we really think about it, I, for all these years, was like, I was in the ER due to a heartbreak. Yes, but it wasn't my heart that reacted. It's because my mind reacted to this heartbreaking experience in a way that then affected physically the rest of my body. And, I think that it's important to know that or to note that, you know, when we love with our minds, like Uncle Stanley was saying, like, we have, the ability to really love because, when we love with our minds, there's forgiveness, there's understanding, there's communication, there's, even self awareness, you know? And so, I don't know, I guess today, the real moral of the story is, um, respond with your mind as opposed to responding with the emotions that you feel come from your heart. And I think the rest of your body, the rest of your spirit, like your relationships, like everything you do will become more aligned. All right. So big up Uncle Stanley, big up Auntie Nico. Um, Shout out to you for, listening to this story. And remember to leave me a comment if you like it. Actually, and thanks to those that left me DMs. I know that, we don't always feel comfortable to leave comments, but, send me a message, say what's up. Let me know if you receive this message. All right. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.